Hello Aquarians, welcome to your monthly plant spirit reading with me, Joey Morris, the Starry Hedge Witch, where we pull a card from a particular plant spirit oracle or tarot deck for the month to look at what energies are going to serve you, what plant spirit you should connect with, what are the lessons coming for you this May. So we are working with the Seed and Sickle Oracle deck, which is one of my absolute favourites. You can check more about that on the channel right now if you'd like to see the deck in its fullness. It's one of my absolute favourites. We're using the Dawn Guidebook for New Beginnings, and your card for the month is Mushroom. Oh my goodness, mushroom, mushroom. Everybody loves mushroom. Well, I do. As a plant spirit, the funky fungi are in a ritual in one of my Songs of Shades books because I absolutely adore them and I can talk about them at length. So we're going to try and contain this video to 10 or so minutes for you guys. So again, the mushroom is in the autumn section of the booklet. The booklet is set into seasons, so it being in the autumn section, that's going to indicate there are things dying off, things ending for you in May. Not a surprise. On Patreon, we're going to be having on the 1st of May a astrological insight with a tarot card like we always do every month for everybody, and that sort of pre-warns everybody of all the major astral insights. And there's a lot going on in May. There's a lot of eclipse energy, there is retrograde energy, there's a particularly funky full moon in Scorpio with more eclipse energy, so there's a lot of sort of endings and introspection, so that kind of fits with this section of the booklet. Let's see what it says. Just like fungus bodies that spread underground, hiding until they're ready to flourish upwards, you've been working away in the background. You're wearing yourself thin for the sake of those who do not realise you've been burning the candle at both ends. If you're not careful, you'll reach a point where you burn yourself out. Catch this behaviour before it gets out of control. Find someone to help with your workload or compromise on areas that don't require as much attention. Be your own helping hand and find a way to balance your energy better. Oh, Aquarius, you are being pulled and called out. It talks about compromise and cooperation here. These are the two big key themes. I'm going to talk a little bit about mushrooms as I perceive them. Sometimes I give a little bit of folklore, but for you guys, I really want to talk about my own personal gnosis with mushrooms because it's been quite a journey, like especially in the wild. I actually found last year fly agaric for the first time in my life. It was super exciting. I recorded it. Patrons know all about my little mushroom adventures, but I personally adore them. So mushrooms create grand vast networks underneath the earth. They actually send signals between trees. They create a communication network, almost like the spiritual ecosystem itself, and they're fascinating. And mushrooms, of course, come in many different varieties, and as Terry Pratchett has it, you know, some you can eat and some you can eat only once, because there is a plethora. And it's really always very interesting to me that all of the mushrooms that have names like death, they're not the ones that will kill you. It's like the innocuous named ones that like sneak in there. You really do expect like the fluffy bunny mushroom to be the one that is going to cause the most pain and death. Is mad when you look into the names of them. Fly agaric, of course, is synonymous with the realm of the Fae and with flying ointments, which is really interesting because that kind of hallucinogenic thing has happened both to Capricorns and to you guys. So there is a liminality happening in May for the first two readings, which is super freaking interesting. And I shuffle in between each card pull. So there you go. There is something really interesting happening with this card in itself, though. So the moon surrounds. You've got all the moon phases in this card with a spoon in the center and the full moon up top. You might find yourself really impacted by the full moon in Scorpio, Aquarius, which it would not be a surprise if you're feeling overwhelmed and underappreciated, which is a little bit what happened with the Capricorns. But for you guys, it's not really just about the fact that you might be feeling unappreciated. It's that you've been quietly working behind the scenes to create something or get a project to its fullness, and you've been taking on an unfair amount of work. So there is an overwhelm risk for those with Aquarius. And bear in mind to look at your sun, moon and rising to get a fuller picture of what's going on for the month. So mushrooms can be medicine, mushrooms can be magic, mushrooms can be food, mushrooms can be used in the suit to break down and decompose the body. The mushroom suit is one of those fascinating things I've learned from Death Priestesses, where you get put into a biodegradable bag, basically, your body does after death, and full of mushrooms, and it just decomposes and puts you back to earth. So mushrooms have a real interesting liminal, earthy vibration, and this card brings into it like a moon worship, which is really fascinating in that earthy, autumnal vibe that it comes up. So I feel like there is a death of a situation for you here, Aquarius. There is a lot of an ending energy coming in, where you are reaching a point where you are finally ready to end a situation. And actually, you might be behind the times slightly on this, because other people have been chopping and changing coming into May, but I think you have been holding on a little bit tighter perhaps than you should have, for a little bit longer than you should have. You have the best of intentions, wanting to make things work, and you've probably been a bit too kind to people who are not pulling their weight. It feels like project-based, though. It feels like community and communal, that you've been taking on too much of the workload in whatever sense that is going to, come up for you. There's an inkling of like something going on here within this hallucinogenic thing, and I think maybe fairy rings is what is coming up. So mushrooms tend to like wet, damp, dark, dank conditions, generally speaking. And the fairy ring is a pretty common motif when it comes to symbolism with regards to entering into the realm of the Fae, entering into a portal and never coming back, that liminal in-between spaces again. There is a lot of that liminality for you and Capricorn, both coming into the energy of this particular month. So there really is this need to be careful what you ingest. That's what it feels like. I guess because you can ingest certain mushrooms and be on top of the world, and you can ingest certain mushrooms and be on top of the world for 5 minutes and then die. You have to be kind of careful what you are ingesting, what you're taking in, what nourishes you in terms of your relationships with other people and change and shifting. So mushrooms are generally used for journey work and travel. So you're going to have your magic mushrooms, which are going to change your whole perception of the world around you. You're going to have certain mushrooms which are good and hearty and delicious and make you feel grounded and earthy. And then those are the ones that kill you. Like I said, that's a one-way trip journey. So really take stock in May, Aquarius, what you are imbibing, whose words you're taking in, whose advice you are settling with, who has your best interest and who does not. This is an ending card, so you may finally be at the end of your tether with a particular situation, and it has taken you far longer than anyone else to get to that situation, interestingly. You have tried to look at the situation from 100 different angles, trying to figure out a solution without cutting the situation off at the root, and unfortunately, for some of you guys, it's really going to be that this is the end of it, whatever it may be. I don't know what that situation is. For a lot of you, it feels there is a communal energy, a communal effort. So it could be work-based, but it could also be like a circle of friends, a group project, something like that you just have been taking on too much. And people have been allowing that to be the case and sauntering off without a care in the world. So don't allow that anymore, Aquarius. That's not okay. Stand up for yourself, empower yourself, believe in your worth, because mushrooms are all magical. They're some of the best spirits to connect with, and often they're overlooked because they're fungi and people prefer the pretty plants, but these ones are absolutely stellar in terms of magic. I love them. They'll take you places. So if you would like to hear more, my darlings, check out your sun, moon and rising, but also, we do this every month on Patreon, every week, to be honest with you. We do a monthly card pull with all the astral insights that you could possibly need to know and prepare for, and there's a lot in May. And we also do a weekly card reading and oracle to help you get ready for the week, to see what's coming, prep you in. People find that really, really helpful. I love doing it every week, and we're still in a Morrigan cycle for the month of May, so hopefully you guys will come on over, be enriched, nom nom nom, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Have a beautiful May, darlings.